We are so excited because season 6 of Selling Sunset is back. Let's take a look at the best and worst moments of episodes 1 through 3. Hey everyone, it's Hannah Fletcher and welcome back to Shared News. We are going to talk about the first 3 episodes of Selling Sunset, and oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited. But before we do that, make sure that you guys like this video, make sure that you guys are subscribed to us here at Shared News, and make sure that those notifications are turned on so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. All right, so let's talk about the general vibe of the show so far. So I don't know about you guys, but I really have noticed that Christine is not present in the show so far, and this was my fear going into season 6. I feel like with the new cast joining in that the chemistry is definitely off. I feel like some of our older cast members that have been here from the beginning, some of the OGs, I feel like they're getting a little bit tired. I noticed that Mary was very stressed throughout the first few episodes so far of Selling Sunset, rightfully so. But I don't know, I feel like it's definitely off not having Miss Christine Quinn herself in attendance to be in this season. But overall, I definitely think that the show is worth watching. I'm not regretting having clicked on to watch season 6. And I think it's definitely, the vibe is different, but I don't necessarily dislike it so far. So one of the things that I really was fascinated with is I've been fascinated with the idea of having Chrishell and G-Flip, and I've wanted to see how it is that their relationship is going to pan out. And honestly, I really love these two together. I love that we're able to gain some access into how they met and into exactly like what their dynamic is. They're very playful with one another. And I think that honestly, they're very cute. There's definitely an age difference, but what I love about the fact that there is an age difference, but I don't know that. Chrishell she has a very youthful energy. I feel like G-Flip does too. So I feel like they're actually a match made in heaven. And I'm really excited to see as they continue to navigate their relationship. And I'm glad that the cameras are able to see that. So I really like the two together. I'm excited to see how they continue to transpire with one another. And honestly, Chrishell just seems so happy. She seems very present and relaxed. And I think that G-Flip brings that out in her. And I don't know, I love the two of them together. I really think that they're cute. So as we know, Chrishell and G-Flip, they teased us a few weeks ago, and I honestly thought that these two were legally married, but it turns out that they're not. It turns out that they just had a ceremony, I guess, in order to show their love for one another, and there was no legal factor to it. Now, I don't know if this means for season 7, are we going to have an actual televised wedding for these two? I read that it's kind of up in the air at this point, but they do definitely feel that they are going to marry one another. So I think that that's a really fascinating update that's come since being able to start to be able to view season 6 of Selling Sunset. So I'm excited for them. I hope we do. If we don't get a televised wedding, personally, I would like to at least see some prep, some behind the scenes, maybe some wedding dress try on, something. Give me something. So I don't know. I'm really excited, and I really hope that we get some type of behind the scenes if we don't get a full televised wedding between Chrishell and G-Flip. Now, next up, I want to talk about Brie. So we have some new cast members that are joining Selling Sunset. We have Nicole Young, and then we have Brie, which is one of the many moms of children to Nick Cannon. And honestly, having these two new girls join the cast, I feel like they definitely changed the energy in the room. Brie has a very interesting entrance into the cast. I feel like she's kind of painted as like the mini Christine, sort of, kind of, not really. It starts out with her having a conversation with Heather, and they're bonding over the fact that Heather's a mom, or going to be a mom, and that Brie is a mom. She's 6 weeks postpartum, and the outfits that Brie wears, her body looks amazing. I don't know how she did it. But I just think that the new cast is very interesting. I think that they came in, and I think that they definitely changed up the dynamic. And what's interesting is we also have Nicole Young, who's been a member of the Oppenheim group since the beginning. She was actually supposed to be the main girl of the entire show back when season 1 was around. Like, she's been with the company for quite some time. She dated Jason, I think 13 or 14 years ago. And honestly, speaking about that, Jason has dated like half of the girls in the office at this point. We know that he's been with Mary. We know that he's been with Nicole. Nicole, she says that she was the OG girlfriend. And now, obviously, we know that he was recently with Chrishell. So there was a joke that was made in one of the episodes where somebody was saying I think it was Brie was asking, she's like, do I have to date Jason in order to be here? Do I have to actually do that? Is that a thing? And it was just so funny. So I love that Jason has somehow made his rounds around the office. But I think that the new cast is very interesting. I think that they've definitely brought quite a different dynamic to the pre-existing cast. And I think that they're fighting for their contracts to be renewed for future seasons to come, and I think that they're going to win that battle for sure. Another person that I want to talk about is we've got Heather. I love Heather so much. Heather is so cute, and honestly, this season, it seems like Heather's personality trait is just her being pregnant. This girl, she's had so many wardrobe malfunctions. She can't get down steps. She is adorable. She is so happy. She's mentioned that she is just so excited to be a mom that you can just tell that she's so elated with her marriage and with the fact that she's going to have a baby. And everybody is super supportive and there for it. Like, I don't even think that Heather's mentally checked into her job at all whatsoever. I genuinely just think that she is so fixated on being pregnant and like just being a mom and going to be a mom. I don't think that she's able to see past anything else. And one of the interesting things is her and Brie have really seemed to hit it off. And I think that that's fascinating too, because Brie is very tough. Like, she mentions about getting her bag throughout the episodes that I've seen so far. And she's very adamant that she is money driven, that she is there to work, that she is not necessarily there to make friends. But I think it's interesting that her and Heather have kind of drawn to one another. But I really think that if it weren't for the maternal factor, I don't think that a friendship would be there whatsoever. I think that Brie looks at her relationship with Heather as like an opportunity to guide her and to mentor her from a mom's perspective. And I think Heather's just there soaking it up. Anything that she can do to talk about babies, anything that she can do to talk about being a new mom and expecting. I think that that's just what Heather is being driven by at this point. So I think it's fascinating that those two clicked. And I'm curious to know, you know, if they would actually get along without the commonality of having a child. Now, one of the things, speaking of children, one of the things that I kind of want to touch base on is the fact that Jason has brought in this girl, Mary Lou. Now, Mary Lou she just turns 25 in one of the episodes, and she is adorable. I personally really like her. I think that she's extremely sweet. She's younger than I am. And it's interesting to see how he brings her into the office and how she interacts with the girls. It's definitely a very unique kind of introduction into being able to talk to the girls in the office and for them to get to know her. And I'm also very fixated on Chrishell and her reactions. And I mean, Chrishell just seems like overall she's very happy for Jason. She's very involved in G-Flip, and it just seems like I feel like Chrishell's just moved on at this point completely. And I kind of feel like Jason, with the introduction of Mary Lou, even with some other interactions that he's had with Chrishell, I just feel like, I don't know if their relationship was real or not. I don't know if he's trying to like overact and oversell something, if he's trying to like oversell the idea that he misses Chrishell. I don't know if he's trying to suppress feelings that he still has for her. Like, there's also a part of me that's like, I feel like if she said, okay, go dump Mary Lou, then maybe he would. I don't really know what's going on Jason's end of things. I genuinely, honestly couldn't tell you. But what's also interesting is the fact that with Chrishell moving on to G-Flip and Jason moving on to Mary Lou, G-Flip is just under 30. I believe they're 28 or 29, somewhere in there. And then I believe that Jason obviously is with Mary Lou, and Mary Lou just turned 25. So I think it's interesting that they both have moved on to younger people. But the fact that he's getting a lot more heat and a lot more teasing than Chrishell definitely is just an interesting thing to note. I don't have an opinion necessarily on that. I just think that it's interesting that he's getting a lot more flack for the fact that he went to a younger person when Chrishell also did the exact same thing, going and dating somebody significantly younger. But nonetheless, I think Chrishell's very happy. I think Jason is happy too, but there's also a part of me, I'm just like, I don't really know what's going on in Jason's head. He's always kind of confused me when it comes to love, and I've always felt like he has a thing for whoever he's dated. Like, I don't know if he does for Nicole necessarily, but I feel like he still has a thing for Mary, despite the fact that Mary's moved on and married, and like they go to dinner, it seems like quite frequently. And I feel like he'll always have something for Chrishell, or he might have to show that he's always had something for Chrishell. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. Let me know what your thoughts are in terms of Jason and Chrishell, and if you feel like there's actually closure there, and if you feel like the relationship was even a thing. Let's talk about Mary. Now, since I mentioned Mary, I kind of want to go and talk about her now, because Mary was one of my favorites for many, many seasons. I think I've always liked Mary. I don't think there was ever a time where I really wasn't a fan of hers. But this season, Mary is just... I can tell that she's stressed out. We know that Jason has put her in charge of running the Oppenheim group, which is a huge task in and of itself. I mean, I can't imagine working on everything that you're working on, all of your listings, all of your, any offers that you have to write, all of your clients, and then taking on the workload that comes from running the Oppenheim group. I mean, it's a huge amount of work. She's definitely stressed, but I feel like Mary has not had an opportunity to not be stressed this season. I feel like I've only seen her stressed. She seems very serious. Like, I feel like our little happy, bubbly Mary is just not there anymore. And I'm really personally wondering if this is because of the stress that she's now inherited from Jason, or is this like something else that we don't really know about? Is it solely because of the Oppenheim group and the new tasks that he's kind of put on her? Or is there something else going on that we don't know? I mean, her and Romaine seem fine, but Romaine cracks me up too. Romaine is just a man of very few words. I love him. I think he's hilarious. But I don't know, maybe there's trouble in paradise there or something, but she just seems very stressed overall, which is like, I get it, but at the same time, I've yet to see the bubbly Mary that I grew to love throughout the first 5 seasons. Also, let's talk about the workload that was pinned on Mary. This is a very large amount of work, and I feel like Jason giving her all of this work, yes, it is the prime test. However, I don't feel like by trying to look at her and potentially make her partner, I don't feel like this was exactly the cleanest, most professional way of trying to test someone or ease them into a new position. I feel like, if anything, this was just more selfish, that he wanted to run off to Europe with Mary Lou. And having Mary just take on all of that stress, I just feel like that was not it in terms of how to pass off tasks and obligations to someone else. I feel like he just wanted to run off. He's with a young girl. He's in love, allegedly. He's gonna go now and then be gone for almost a month. And now Mary has to deal with everything. And I don't know. I've had my fair share of opportunities and jobs, and I've worked my way up the chain personally. And I genuinely didn't have that as my introduction. I was always eased into the next steps that I was going to take in whatever business adventure I was pursuing. So I don't know. For such a big, prestigious group, I feel like that was such a fishy, kind of immature way of easing somebody into a position. So, and now I feel like it's taking a toll on Mary throughout the entire season, and it's causing her to just kind of suppress who she really is. And now she's just stressed, and I'm not enjoying watching Mary, and I wish I was, but I can tell that she's stressed, and it's transferring onto me. I'm stressed for her at this point. Also, another factor that's really interesting to me. So I know that Brett was allegedly going to leave and open up his own brokerage. But now, first of all, we see a shot of the two boys sitting at their desks. And so we know that Brett is back. But what's interesting about that is they don't address the fact that Brett's made a return. And also, it begs the question, what's going on? Why wouldn't Jason leave the tasks to Brett? Or even if he wanted to maybe wean Mary into this whole new position change, or advancement rather, why wouldn't he say, okay, you know what, you take these tasks, and Mary, here's a couple extra things to add to your plate. He just totally overlooked his brother. So I really want to know what's going on there. Also, Brett has always, I feel like, been more removed from the show as opposed to Jason. We know that Jason's in like a huge part of the show. I mean, he's not in almost every scene, but close. And so for Brett, I'm not sure. I don't really know exactly what's going on. I guess they're probably not going to address it. But I would really like some clarification. I really, really would, because I just think it's really odd that he didn't at least like split the tasks in half, if not just leave it all to Brett and even say, hey, look, here are all these tasks. If you want to delegate a few over to Mary, go for it. I just want to know what's going on between the brothers. I'm super curious about that. And continuing on the idea of Mary, I also think it's really interesting that her and Chrishell seem to not be friends anymore. So I guess because of the breakup, it seems like Mary definitely went and took Jason's side. And I just think that it's interesting that they're not close because these two seemed inseparable. I mean, even Chrishell mentioned she's like, oh, she's like my sister, or she was like my sister. And even Chrishell seems kind of in the dark about the fact that Mary's not really around anymore and checking in on her. Even the scenes that they've had together have been very few. And the interactions that they've had, like, they're nice, they're pleasant, but they're not lovey and warm. Like, you definitely don't have that best friend energy anymore. So I'm really wanting to know, even post breakup, I mean, if she broke Jason's heart, you would still think that Mary, being friends with both parties, and she was super close to Chrishell, you'd think that she would at least check in on Chrishell too and at least find out what happened with the breakup. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going on there that we don't know about. And I don't know. I just think it's odd that Mary is not that close to Chrishell anymore. And it makes me really sad because I loved those two. I felt like they were friendship goals. I liked them both as women individually, and I really liked them as friends. So I'm mourning the loss of the friendship there, and I just wish that they would reconcile, and I hope that they do, but I don't know. I have no clue what to expect in terms of that. Let's kind of switch gears. Let's talk about this girl, Chelsea. Okay, Chelsea's interesting to me. I just feel like Chelsea was close with Christine, and I feel like Chelsea has stepped up, and I feel like she's almost trying to fill Christine's shoes. I low-key wonder if Christine didn't like give her a phone call and was like, all right, since I'm gone, this is all yours. Like, fulfill the shoes as you will. I just feel like Chelsea's got such a bad attitude, and I don't understand why. I mean, I think she's gorgeous. She's got a very successful, allegedly, marriage. She's got children. She has a lot of the things that the girls don't have on the show. She's in a stable relationship. If anything, she should be super involved in everything that's going on outside of the office and like head in the clouds. If anything, she's there for her bag. So I don't really know what's going on with Chelsea. I feel like she's got a lot of aggression and anger just towards everybody. I feel like there's this sense of like she's higher than thou. I know she's a Christian, and I know that type of a Christian can often give bad rap to Christians. So I just don't understand why she has this mentality that she is better than everybody else. I think that I'm sure she's great at her job, sure. And I'm sure that she can be a nice person, but I really just don't like her attitude so far. And I'm hoping that changes, but I feel like she's definitely sticking her nose in other people's business so far, and I feel like she's definitely just trying to get her airtime. And you can get your airtime without being snooty. So I don't know. I'm not personally a fan of Chelsea right now. I'm hoping that changes, and I'm hoping that she just settles down. I really would like to see her settle down a little bit because there's enough going on as is with the new girls being added to the cast. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Chelsea right now. And that's okay. And that's okay. So we have Emma and Brie. So going back to, so obviously we know Chelsea and Brie were definitely at odds. They do not like each other. It seems as though the minute that Brie stepped in, I felt like there was just tension in the air between the two. And now we've got Emma and Brie having a dispute. So I was very much a fan of Brie up until this particular part happened. I thought that Brie seemed like she was just there for herself, there to make her money, to get her bag, like she says many times on the show. But I don't know. I think that Emma kind of is like Heather in a way where she's just she's there, she's very nice, very go with the flow. I don't really see anybody that starkly dislikes Emma in this lineup of cast members so far. But you have a dispute that goes on between Brie and Emma that totally caught me off guard. Now, Brie has a client that is allegedly a billionaire. And with this billionaire client, he mentions Emma. And then fast forward to the Brokers Open that takes place in Manhattan Beach. Brie just goes up to Emma. So, like, unpreempted. She's watching her carry on and enjoy herself and have some drinks, I think, with Chrishell. And then all of a sudden, Brie just goes up and she's just like very confrontational, not giving Emma really any heads up that this is coming. And I don't know. I see where Brie is defensive and wanting to protect a billionaire client. I get that. She's looking at $1 million commission. That's a lot of money. However, I think that there's a better way to go about the conversation that she had with Emma. She went in, she accused her of basically contacting the client, and then Emma was saying that she has no clue what she's talking about, that they're friends, and that she's given him veggie empanadas. So I think that it was really bold of Brie to go up and just assume and just go in teeth first to Emma without even coaxing her into the conversation. If somebody would ever come up to me and want to have a conversation like that, I would expect for somebody to at least warm me up first and give me a heads up that this is going to segue into that conversation. And then Brie just left after that. So she didn't even go to the Brokers Open to try to have any type of interaction with the girls at all whatsoever. She didn't even care about the Brokers Open, it seemed like, but I don't know. So on the topic of the Brokers Open, we were teased in the trailer with this. We have a fight that goes down between Chrishell and Nicole. Now this fight, this conversation, I felt like it was very heavily edited, and I don't like the edit. I feel like for Nicole to come out and join Christine, I felt like it was very not organic. It was not genuine. I felt like a producer was definitely like, okay, enter Nicole, as she walks into Chrishell just casually sitting on the edge of something, no drink in hand, just sitting like a princess on a float. I was like, this is not a casual conversation that you guys are trying to depict. But I feel like the conversation was very pushed. I know that Chrishell caught wind of some of the accusations that Nicole was saying about her, and how 3 years ago there was this falling out with Nicole doing all this work and then Chrishell's name getting slapped on all of this work. And it's very messy. It's very confusing what goes down between the two of them in terms of what was going on with these houses from back in the day. And at the end of the day, I don't know. I think that both women were kind of in the wrong. I think that Chrishell calling Nicole a derogatory term wasn't necessarily correct, but I think that the edit is what ended up causing such odd tension in being on the receiving end of things from being the audience and being a viewer. I feel like there was a lot more that took place, and then they just cut to Chrishell calling her the derogatory term. So I think that a lot more was said in between. I think a lot of that was chalked up to editing, making it look like Chrishell was snapping way before she should have been. I think Chrishell probably had a right to snap because of what Nicole was saying. But also, I will say, I went into this whole season thinking that I was strongly going to dislike Nicole. And as of right now, she's not my favorite on the show. I can see why she's upset. I understand that she's very, very good at her job. But at the end of the day, too, I think that I don't think that she should be taking it up with Chrishell per se, because there's nothing that Chrishell can physically or technically do. She can't do anything about it right now. She can go to Mary and she can go to Jason and say, hey, these are the things that Nicole's bringing up to me. Is this true? What can I do to help? There's nothing that she can do at this point. So I think Nicole needs to go to Jason and Mary, and even just if she wants to alert Chrishell, fine. But if she doesn't, fine too. I think that there's also this unspoken tension between the two girls, because Chrishell is kind of low-key one of the main characters, if not the main character of the show. And allegedly Nicole was supposed to be the main character back in the day when Nicole was supposed to join the cast in season 1. So I think that these two are just kind of naturally pinned against one another. And I think that it's just messy between the two of them. I really don't think that the conversation would have organically happened if production didn't have a hand in it, personally. Because, I don't know, I think Nicole should have just taken everything up with Jason and Mary. But I think it also should have been taken up years ago. I don't think taking it up with them now does any good for anybody. And even if she wants to go and let Chrishell know that oh, hey, this happened 3 years ago, but this happened, Chrishell's just set up to just feel bad. But I don't know what Chrishell could physically do about it right now. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments about that, because I'm really torn on the fight. I thought that the fight was going to be Chrishell being the angel and Nicole just being the villain, the way that I thought it was going to be in the trailer. But now I'm just confused, and I don't really know ultimately what Nicole wants at the end of the day, because she keeps saying in the fight that it's not about the money, it's not about the money. If it's not about the money, then I don't really know what it's about. If it's about the moral and value aspect of it, I mean, it doesn't seem like Chrishell is the one going around and talking to people about her, about Nicole. So that's where I'm kind of at with it. I'm just like, okay, this was just an interesting conversation. And again, it's happening at a Brokers Open. These girls are just always going at it at the Brokers Open. I'm like, what are you guys doing? What's also interesting is the fact that there's been so many headlines, I feel like, about the idea that these ladies are not actually doing their job, that they're not actually selling anything. Christine Quinn, I know, even went on Savannah Chrisley's podcast and went off all about how everything is fake and nobody actually sells anything. Very few people have even sold houses. I think specifically she even mentioned that Chrishell sold like maybe 2 out of all of the seasons. So the fact that they don't work is not getting doused by this conversation. I feel like this conversation is actually adding more fuel to the headlines that have already been out, letting us know that these girls, yes, it's a reality show, and yes, they are real estate agents, but at the end of the day, a handful of them are probably not actually doing too much in terms of selling anything. So I think that that's really interesting too, that this conversation happened as all of the other news is kind of rolling out as well. Also, something else to note too is the fact that this timeline is super tight. Like, Jason's been gone. Jason's set to leave, and then he does leave. And then, like, he hasn't returned. Mary is just stressed for multiple episodes overall. Like, they act like so much time has passed. They act like when they see each other that they all haven't seen each other in like a week or 2 weeks. But the fact of the matter is, like, timeline's tight. Chances are, like, they're filming, in my opinion, I would think that they're filming something in the morning and then they break for lunch and then maybe they'll film something in the evening. Like, I'm sure that they are packing their days full when they are shooting. So I just think it's funny that they act like they haven't seen each other in so long. And like, they just saw each other yesterday, this morning. Like, I'm sure for filming, they have seen each other very recently. So I just think it's interesting that they act like they haven't seen each other in so long. But I don't know, you guys. Overall, I'm really enjoying this season so far. I'm glad. I was very skeptical without Christine being there to cause the drama. Also, I mean, she was like 3 mean girls in one. That girl was powerful as far as like being able to move the plot along and establish being the mean girl. So I thought it was interesting when I found out that she wasn't going to be returning. I did not know what was going to be happening with the show. But I think that there is a lot of drama. I know that the cast and especially I know Jason was saying, like, there's so much drama this season. This is crazy. Like, stay tuned because there's so much drama. I do see it. I see how there's drama and I'm excited to continue watching it. I really, really think that it's definitely a good season. I will say I do miss some of the OGs. I miss Maya. I really liked her, and I just liked her for being just kind of more of a neutral party involved in the process. And I do miss, I can't believe I'm saying that I miss Christine, but I do miss Christine because I felt like she did add a lot. So I couldn't imagine Christine though with the new girls now. Oh, that's chaos. That's absolute chaos. That'd be a lot. So let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments section. I will say that this season in general, you're going to have a lot of drama. I'm noticing that we're not going to be missing out on that. You will definitely not see so much for sales. I'm not seeing anything in terms of sales too much this season so far. Just overall less real estate, a lot of insane houses. In the beginning, in the first episode, they show Harry Styles' old house and how that's on the market. So the houses are insane as per usual. The fashion is amazing. I mean, these ladies are dressed to the nines, especially for being a real estate agent. I know they normally dress up, but these ladies are dressed like they are ready to walk a carpet, to walk through a house. They are insanely dressed. So definitely more drama, like I said, if you are looking for that, for sure. And like I said, less on the real estate end, but the entertainment factor is certainly there. And I could definitely say that. Let me know all of your thoughts about everything down in the comment section below. Again, I love to see what you guys have to say. We love to read all of your comments here at Shared News. It makes us excited, and we like to know what you guys are thinking as we are rolling along with watching Selling Sunset. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you guys like this video. If you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed and make sure that your notifications are turned on so you guys don't miss out on any of our future videos. And thank you guys again so much for watching. I'm Hannah Fletcher, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.